So just about to get started with this timing belt replacement for on the Dacia Sandero Stepway 1.5 DCI 2014 model. Just having a quick look at auto data now at all the correct marks, and have a little read through the procedure just to familiarise myself with this specific vehicle. It's obviously a Renault engine, so pretty straightforward. Just waiting for the car to arrive now, and then as soon as it's here we'll get outside and carry on filming. First step is to get the car jacked up in the air, get axle stands underneath both sides, take the front wheel, crack the front wheel nuts off first to get the front right hand side wheel off. We'll do that first. $18mm bottom bolt, loosen that off. $30mm top bolt, remove this brake out of the way. Let that drop down. Now I can crack this bolt off. So it's an 18mm crankshaft pulley bolt. Hopefully this will do it. And luckily it did, so just put it back on. Just wanted to make sure I could get that loose. Next we'll give the engine a little bit of support and remove the upper right hand side engine mount, or left hand side looking at the engine. Before we can place the jack under the engine to support it, there is a lower engine cover that needs to be removed beforehand. Now we can remove the upper engine mount. They are 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 16mm bolt. Raise the engine a bit. I'm going to get these fuel lines out of the way. It is actually part of the procedure, so 1, 2, 3. Remove them out. Just going to remove the upper cover. There's some tabs that need unclipping. One down there, one right here. That's unclipped. There's another one holding the bottom part of the upper cover to the lower part of the cover. Pull those two tabs back. And then the Torx in the middle that I missed, but luckily that came out easily. Now I'm going to jack the engine up to give access to this bracket that needs to come off. Missed one at the bottom there. Excuse me. And there you go. Get that out of the way. That gives us a lot more access to the timing belt. Now we're going to get that lower cover off. Lower the engine back down to get access to the lower cover. I'm struggling to get that lower cover off with this pulley on and the belt and the tensioner. So next we're going to take this belt off, try and take a photo of it in its current position, release this tensioner here. I believe it's a 15 or a 16mm. Rotate it clockwise, remove the tension off this belt, remove the belt, and then we're going to remove this lower pulley. Got a 16mm spanner on the tensioner. Try and release it, hold it with my fingers. Just managed to get that belt off. There we go. Now we can remove this pulley. 18mm. Beautiful. Came off very easily. Now we're just going to go and find a spacer to put in between here so that we can get this bolt back in order to rotate it into the correct position where we need it, to get the timing in the correct position. So I'm using the drive shaft nut as a spacer. Yeah, that's nice and tight. Perfect. Lower covers out the way. Now we can rotate it, get it into the correct position. So let's have a look at the correct timing position. This little dot on the bottom of the crankshaft pulley needs to be at 6 o'clock, right at the bottom, which it is, and then you've got to make sure that that keyway's at 12 o'clock, right on the top. Obviously that keyway there. We go into market anyway with some white paint just so that we, you know, double safe, but you don't really need to as long as they're in the right position. Here at top, the yellow dot on the camshaft, sorry, needs to line up with this mark on the back of the casing, which you can see it does perfectly. And then you can also be extra safe and put the blocking tool or equivalent in there. I will show you what's going on there just so you can see. There's actually a little hole in the back with a groove, with a fork sort of opening for you to slide your tool in, and just make sure that's locked in position. And then on the fuel pump there is a line, let me see if I can show you that line there, that mark there, so that dot needs to be just in front of this extrusion of aluminium, this little piece here, so just in front, which it currently is. It literally is just in front, so this is all in the exact correct position. We're going to take the tensioner off now, release the pressure of the tensioner, remove the tensioner, remove the belt, get the new belt on there, and water pump, tensioner, etc., and get it back together. So now we need to remove the rear timing belt cover, the black plastic part. There's 3 8mm bolts holding it on, I believe, 2 in the bottom that I've just removed, 1 up top. Once those are out, we should be able to remove the cover. There's a little cable attached to it at the bottom. Might have to come out the bottom actually. So there's the cover removed. Once the cover's off, we can now get access to the 8mm water pump bolts. So just going to take the 4 bolts out of the water pump 8mm. Just cracking more. I've got a drain pan underneath. Any coolant going on the floor. Last one. Do the rest by hand. One. Two. 3. 'That's the last bolt out. Water pump off. Now I can get the new one on. So the gasket is metal and is attached to the lower part, but you have to literally break it off at these tabs in order to get the new one on that's made to fit. Quick look in the kit. Got water pump, new gasket, crankshaft bolt and spacer, new belt, new tensioner, and the good old sticker to write down the mileage. Right, let's get it all back on. So the belt's back on. All the marks are still in the exact same position as it was when we took it off. New water pump's on. We're now going to put the lower cover on, upper cover, engine mount, fuel lines, put the lower cover back on, engine cover back on, and then start it up. So the lower cover's back on. Now we just need to refit this bracket. gearbox mount can go back on. So, arch cover's back in, this bracket's been reattached, the engine was turned over by hand a couple of times off the crankshaft pulley just to make sure that there was no interference with the valves, pistons, everything's okay. I'm going to get this wheel back on, start it up, add some coolant because we've done the water pump, add some coolant first, sorry, start it up, make sure it gets up to temperature, make sure everything's okay, and then that should be it. And now that the coolant's topped up, the car's on the ground, all the covers are back on, now's the moment of truth, we can get it started.